Hey guys, how's it going? Today I am going to do a quick little, I hope it's quick, easy Halloween costume. I was going to do another video with the embroidery machine, but of course, the 16-year-old comes to me this morning. Actually, she didn't even come to me. She went to her dad because she's smart. And she said that she wanted a little something to wear to dance tonight. So it's not her real costume. She has a real costume. She's going to be Buzz Lightyear. And yes, she's 16, and yes, she still dresses up, and yes, we think Halloween is a very big deal around here. My oldest is in college, and he's dressing up, and I often dress up, not this year. And then our youngest is going to be a ceiling fan. I haven't made that one yet, but I will come up with something. So anyway, so it's dance tonight. She wants something that she can dance in, and her real costume, it's a thing every year. She can't wear her real costume to the dance because what if it gets hurt and then it's not good for Halloween? And so I kind of should have known this was coming, and frankly, she would have been fine had I pulled something out of the garage, like a witch hat or I don't know, something. But anyway, I was digging through stuff and I found this, I have this shirt that I got at Dollar Tree. It's a comfort color shirt. It's her size-ish. She's tiny, but it'll fit her. And so I had this idea to make her, she was originally going to be Hermione from Harry Potter. We watched all the Harry Potters recently. But she ended up she's doing a couple's costume with her best friend. Her best friend's going to be Woody and she's going to be Buzz. So she's going to a little party on Saturday, outdoor party on Saturday. But so I thought this would be a cute little thing for her. So you could do it with vinyl. I hate vinyl. I try not to use vinyl. I'm going to do it with sublimation, which you can't sublimate on cotton, but I have a product that I'm gonna use that I've done before and it works pretty well. So I'll kind of walk you through the whole thing, starting with how I designed the whole thing. I looked online to see if I could find something like already done and made, and I couldn't, so I just did it myself. It's probably easier that way anyway. So let's take a look at the computer and I'll show you how I did all that. Okay. I'm in Silhouette Studio, which I use for pretty much everything. You don't need a Cameo, a Silhouette machine to use this program, I assume. I mean, it's free, or there is a free version. I have the Pro version or something. I don't know. It's one that you would have to pay for. I got it free when I got my new Cameo. Look out for those kind of deals. They often do, oh no, mine's the business edition. That's what it's called. They often do promos where they'll do like, what would you call it? Like a bundle. I got the Cameo, I got all kinds of vinyl, and one of those mint stamp maker things. And it was all, I don't remember how much it was, but it was a great price. I got it around Mother's Day. To me, from me, with love and affection. So look out for those deals because they're really nice. And then again, it came with the business edition for free, which it does a lot more than just the basic one. But you can, I mean, I use the basic one, the free one, for years and years. So you can use it for a lot of stuff. So this is the design that we're going to put on the t-shirt, but we have to design it first. So what I did is I went through, and I won't show you this part, but I just got on Google and I searched for some clip art that I knew I could mash together to make what I needed to make. And so all I did, you can actually save the pictures from Google, but I just screenshotted, you know what I mean, whatever I wanted, and then brought it in here. And the way you bring things in Studio is you go up to File and you open. We'll go ahead and bring in that Harry Potter Gryffindor badge, and you bring that in, and then you just make it whatever size you want. And I keep everything kind of on one page so I can work on it that way. But since this is kind of a whole separate thing, we'll just leave it here for now. And we'll work on the actual sweater. So it's supposed to look like her sweater vest with the tie. So to do this, the tie is pretty much ready to go. So we don't have to do a whole lot with that. We will kind of crop it in to the V-neck. But we'll start with the actual, actually let's start with the V-neck. So all I really want is this section right here. But I'll go over, and let me just do a little caveat here. My suspicion is I do things different than a lot of people. I don't do a whole lot of shortcuts. I don't know the right word, but some of you are going to think the way I do things is way too difficult, but it's easy for me. And again, I don't use a lot of shortcuts. I'm not a Control V kind of person or whatever it is you do to copy and paste. So anyway, I'm going to go over here, and you go to select trace area. And we are going to trace this right here, just the V-neck for now. Everything that is yellow will now be a quote-unquote cut line if you were going to cut something. And we're going to just trace it. So we'll trace that. And then we can get rid of all of this, and we can delete it. So now we're left with this. Well, I only really want this portion right here. So what I'll do is I'll go up, and I believe this is one that you can shortcut. You can like control click and release compound path. Or what I usually do is I go up here and go to object, release compound path. But either way, you want to release the compound path. And what that does is make each of these separate so that you can delete what you don't want. So we don't want that. That was what we did want. So we're going to undo delete, and we can actually just move, we'll move that where we want it, and then we'll delete these. Okay, so we want this. I want it to be 2 colors. So I'm going to do an inset. So we'll click on that. We'll go into here. Or I guess an internal offset is what I want. So I'm going to do an internal offset, and see now it'll give us that yellow stripe down the middle that we want. And we'll do all the changing of colors later. But that looks pretty good. Oops, I definitely don't want it. Maybe we'll make it just a smidge bigger. Okay. So now we've got our V-neck. And we could go ahead and change the colors now. I'm not going to do that just yet. But we can group these together. So now we have our V-neck, and we're going to want our tie in there, and we're going to want our collar in there. So let's do the collar. Same thing. I'm going to trace it. So go over here. This one right here is the trace panel, and I'm going to select the trace area. And that gives me that. And then trace it. And then there you can see what that is. Let's zoom in just a little so we can see that better. Okay, now in this one, all I really want is this inside portion of the collar. So same deal, I'm going to release the compound path, and then I'm going to take out what I want, which is that. And that, and then we can just delete all these. We don't need any of that. Okay, so we're going to put this as the collar, and this as the collar. So now you can kind of see how it's coming together. Oh, I did decide that I wanted all of this white, and so I need this as kind of a black outline. So we're going to do the same thing as we did with the V-neck. We're going to do an internal offset. Internal offset there, and I want it much skinnier, like a 0.5. Or not. Maybe my computer's just being slow there. There we go. Oh, what happened there? Let's try that again. Let's just do it this way. There we go. That's good enough. So we're going to go over here. We're going to internal offset it as well. And I believe last time it was 0.55, so we'll just do 0.55 again. 0.55. Okay, so now we got our collar and we got our V-neck. Now we need to get rid of this part of the tie so that it just kind of sits right down in there. This is always tricky for me. I don't know why. It just doesn't make sense to me for some reason, but I believe the tie needs to be on top, so we're going to bring that to the front. I actually might have that backwards. Let's see. So you select everything, and then you come over here, and you hit subtract. See, I did that the wrong way. Okay, so the tie needs to be in the back, I guess. Send to back. I don't know why that doesn't make sense to me, but it doesn't. Anyway, so we'll subtract. Oh, I remember what I did. Okay, hang on. Stay with me. So this is the part where you're going to think I'm ridiculous, and there's a much easier way to do this, which comment down below and tell me what that way is, because I don't know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just duplicate it. So I grouped everything together so that it would duplicate everything. Now I'm going to ungroup it, and now I'm going to do my little subtract, and then we have that. So now I'm going to delete this because we don't need that anymore. I'm going to come over to our original, I'm going to ungroup it, and I'm going to get rid of this tie. Delete, because now we just want this little shorty tie, because we want it to look tucked in to the V-neck. So now we can change, so this is pretty much it. This is what we want. We just need to change our colors. So this right here, this little palette is your colors. So that front part is going to be white. You don't have to do things white. I want black here. So that gives me the black outline. Now you need to come over here. So this is, we're printing, we're not cutting. So you have to come over here and change the color of the cut lines. I needed to do that on the one on the inside as well. So same with this side of the collar. We're going to make it black. Oops. Okay, let me think for a minute. I must have clicked. Okay, so that we want black on the outline. Then we got to go to the outer ring and make it black. Oh yeah, that's right. You do have to make the smaller one white because it's on top of the black. Sometimes I have trouble. That's the other thing that you guys are probably smarter than me at. Sometimes I have trouble clicking the right thing. Okay, so this outer ring of the tie is going to be maroon. So you can go over to your little dropper right here and you can grab the maroon from the tie. And then the same with the inner. Hang on. See, I just sometimes have trouble clicking the thing that I want. Oh, those are still grouped together. Let's ungroup those. We gotta ungroup them. Okay, now we've got the one on the inside and we can make it yellow. So same deal, you go over to the little dropper. We're gonna grab our yellow. Oh, and you have to change your cut lines, so that needs to be yellow. And then I might be going a little fast. I'm kind of assuming there are some things you know about Silhouette Studio. But feel free to ask questions. Okay, so there it is. There's the whole thing. That's what I want. I can now group it all together. Don't have to necessarily. All I did on mine is I measured the collar on the t-shirt and kind of decided how big to make it based on that. I think I even lengthened it a little bit, and it was about 7 inches or something. Now here's the thing, we're going to print from here. When you're printing from Silhouette, you have to show your print border so that you don't move things too big. Let me zoom out here. Oops, wrong way.
So this is all that's going to print. My printer is just a regular printer that prints 8.5 by 11. So you have to keep it within those constraints. So there's our tie and our V-neck. And then for the badge, it's pretty much ready to go, except when you print with sublimation, it's going to print this kind of darker background, which for our purposes is no big deal really. We're going to use scissors to cut around it anyway. But just kind of for future reference, you can go to your trace tool, select trace area. We're going to trace the whole thing, and then you want everything that you want to keep to be yellow. It's not yellow right now. See how some of this isn't filled in with the yellow? So what you want to do is go over here to threshold and bump up the threshold until your entire badge is yellow. And then instead of trace, we're going to do trace and detach. And sometimes this takes a second. And so now we can go here and we can see how that gray part is coming away from it. So now when I print it, it'll have kind of more of a, just a white background. It won't be, show up that gray. Okay, so let me go back to my original that I made before. So this is what I have ready to go to print. My sublimation printer, I mean, that's something you're really, when you're doing sublimation, you really got to do some research. Regardless of the printer you get, you have to set up some various printing settings. You want the right kind of paper to go to the printer, and you want all the page settings to be the right way. Mine is all set up where I need it to be, and I'll show you when I go to print. I choose my sublimation printer, which is the ET2720, and you see here my presets. I've already got mine set for sublimation printing. Now I will say I use Silhouette Studio so much, and in the past, I've gone to sublimate and print from a different program, like maybe Adobe or something, and I've not gotten good results because I don't have the presets and everything. There's like a color driver thing you got to load up, and it's all based on what kind of printer you have, and you just have to do that research. So we're not going to do that today. We're going to assume you have a sublimation printer and it's all set up to go. So mine's on sub, so I'll click print, and now we'll go over to the printer and check that out.
Okay, this is my quote-unquote sublimation printer. So there are official printers for sublimation. One is the Sawgrass, and then I think Epson makes one too. They are crazy town expensive, so I got this one. It's just a regular, what they call Echo Tank. It's an ET2720 that Epson makes, and you put the ink in here. Like you would, this is just a regular printer, so you would put the ink in here. However, I just bought the cheapy Amazon stuff, I bought sublimation ink. And so you put the sublimation ink in here rather than regular ink. Again, if you don't know much about sublimation, it's something that really has to be researched quite a bit. I'm not gonna go into all the details on this video. It just is too much to kind of take in. But that's the basics of my setup. I'm really happy that I did it this way. I think the really expensive ones would have been a waste of money for me. I just don't use it that much. I like it for mugs. I like it for cute little projects like this, but I don't do it a lot, and I don't make a lot of money with it. So it's been a couple years, so I can't really remember, but I bet this printer was 200, maybe a little bit more than 200. But so it prints out like this. It is, again, mirrored, so that we can put it on, when you sublimate, you put it down like this onto your, whatever you're sublimating. And so it needs to be mirrored, and it's all set up in my printer like that. So we're gonna put it on something called Easy Subli, and that's this right here. Word on the street is you can print directly on this Easy Subli, and then use your, like I said earlier, use your Cricut or your Silhouette to cut it out. especially for something like this, that just seems like a ginormous waste of time for me. And I've never been able to get my print settings correct to print on this. So you can see there's a shiny side and a not so shiny side. The matte side is the side that you actually sublimate onto. So I'm literally just going to sublimate onto this paper and then I'll cut it out. Again, there's nothing, it's a Halloween costume. There's nothing super intricate about this. So I'm just going to use scissors rather than my silhouette. I don't often get good registration, like I said. So I'm going to heat press this just like I would. Hang on. First thing you have to do when you're doing it this way, and this is how I do glitter vinyl as well, you have to peel off this back shiny part. So you peel this off, but you're still going to sublimate onto this side. So peel this off, and we're going to put it onto, you can use parchment paper, which is what I like to do. I'm out of parchment paper right now, so I'm just going to put it on my Teflon sheet, and then we're going to heat press directly onto this. So let me do that, and I'll be back to show you. Okay, so here you can see I have sublimated directly onto the Easy Subli, and it's on a piece of parchment paper. The quality, it actually looks pretty good on camera, but in real life it's not great. I forgot to mention in that last segment that I was having crazy trouble with my printer today for some reason, and I had just regular paper, not sublimation paper in there. And you can do that. I wouldn't recommend it for something you're gonna sell or for something that you want to be high quality. But for something like this, regular paper, you can still use regular paper for sublimation. So all I'm gonna do, sorry, I keep hitting the camera, is peel this off of the, what is this called again? Oh my gosh, what is it called? Whatever this is called. Teflon sheet, that's what it's called. So I'm going to peel this off. And again, if you wanted to get super fancy, you could use your silhouette or your cameo and do the registration marks and have it cut it out. I'm just not going to mess with that. So I'm going to cut this out, and then it works just like heat transfer vinyl. So let me... Okay, I got it all cut out, and I usually press my shirt in half so I can line things up. Again, doesn't need to be perfect, although if you knew my daughter, you would know it needs to be perfect or else she'll flip out. So with sublimation, you always want to cover it with something. Since this has already been sublimated, we probably aren't going to have very much bleeding, but I'm going to go ahead and cover it with this. And with this Easy Subli, you do 311. I don't know why 311 degrees. Mine runs a little bit hot. Right here. Not in focus, but anyway, and you just do it for 15 seconds. So I'm gonna bring this down and we'll just watch the timer. And I might go back and press it one more time. I might thread it onto here. I just kind of did this so I could get a better look at it. But I might do it one more press just to be sure. And there you have it. Hermione is all ready for dance class.